This is Dan of 𝗥𝗲𝗄𝗡.
This is 𝗂𝐿 from 𝗕𝗢𝗄 Venture.
Welcome back.
And for the new subscriber on 𝗥𝗲𝗄𝗄 channel, I'm the 𝗂𝐿 and I'm from Malaysia.
And I'm Dan, and make sure to visit 𝗂𝐿's channel. You'll see it in the notes below this too. So in this video we're going to talk about how our travel has changed because of the pandemic for us. We've been traveling the whole time. And the first thing we've noticed is that now we can only travel to open countries. I'm an American, I can go to 183 countries and I get a visa upon arrival.
I'm Malaysian, I can go to 175 countries and visa on arrival.
Yeah, and so we both can go pretty much wherever we want.
But right now we cannot go anywhere.
We can only go to open countries, and there aren't so many. We do our research on kayak. I'll put the link right here for you to see where we go to see what countries are open. But the first thing that's changed is we can only go to open countries.
Yeah. The second thing is when you want to fly, it's got a lot of the rule that you need to have a face mask and a face shield. And you have to prove you have a return ticket. The airline were asking right now a lot of stuff, but still you can fly because we also fly.
Yeah, and I guess I should explain why we're traveling too before we talk about number 3, which is travel expenses. 𝗂𝐿 and I are continued to travel throughout the pandemic because I can't go to her country, she can't go to mine, and we don't want to split apart. We want to keep traveling together, and so that's why we've continued to travel through the whole pandemic. Okay, number 3 is the travel expenses have gone up since the pandemic. You have international flights cost more. When you're within a country and you're traveling around within a country, we used to take buses, and now we take flights often, which is a little bit more, not too bad, $100 a flight. And then when we're in a city, we spend more on local transportation because we used to take things like colectivos for 15 cents or
20 peso, $1.
Yeah, or local buses for really cheap. And now we're often stuck taking a taxi just because we don't want to be around a bunch of people that aren't wearing masks and increase our exposure.
We also renting a car.
Yeah, we rent a car once in a while.
And we also go for a tour that time. We also taking our private tour. Yeah.
We take private tours. Like when we were in Huatuco, the travel expenses were higher because normally we would go on a group tour that was $17.50 with like 30 other people, but we looked at the boat and all the people and we thought, that's kind of a high risk, and a lot of them weren't wearing masks, so we took a private tour which cost us $150.
We're also renting a car from the Puerto Escondido to Huatuco.
Right.
Yeah, it costs a lot of money now.
Normally we would have taken a bus for hardly anything, $10 or $15.
Yeah, $10 or $15,
right.
Less than that. Yes.
So the travel expenses are more. That's the third thing. The next thing is, since it costs a little more to get to places and to travel within a place, we've noticed we started saving a little money by staying in places for up to a month. And when you negotiate a 1-month rent, you can save some money. And we actually we teach you how to find the best apartment for the cheapest. I'll have a link for that on the webpage. And so we use longer stays to offset some of the travel expenses we've had.
Yes.
So that's number 4. Number 5, and this is kind of sound a little silly, but coughing and sneezing, now that means something. So when people are coughing and sneezing around us, we move away from them. We normally social distance, we always wear the mask, and we sanitize our hands, and we go to places that are not so crowded. But we also, when we are near someone coughing and sneezing, even if they're a meter away or whatever, we'll move slowly away from them. But that's probably just a silly reaction. But
yeah, it's silly. But now, no more. COVID have no symptom. So don't be silly. Just sanitize your hands and put on your mask, social distancing. That's all you can do.
Well, when someone's coughing up a storm, I notice I move away from them. Nightlife. We used to do these nightlife tours. If you've been following us, you know that if you're thinking about living or retiring somewhere, you want to know, do they have a nightlife? Is there live music? Is there theater? Is there, what can you do in a place? And so we do these nightlife tours. And we haven't been doing that because that involves being indoors, and often bars are loud and people are speaking really loud. They don't always have their mask on. And so they're louder because they're trying to overcome the sound of the music that's loud. And so bars are dangerous places. So we haven't been doing our nightlife tour.
No, because I like to go to the local bar, which is dive bar, which is $1 beer and unlimited chip and salsa for you to eat, you know. But now we cannot do. But we're still going out in the nighttime, but it's open area bar, which is, and we go on the weekend, like the whole bar only us over there. We pick a different time to go there.
Or it can be other people there, but we like them when the tables are spread apart and it's open air. It's not an enclosed building.
Yes.
And then we see a place like that, we're okay going in. So.
And the restaurant we also choose is the restaurant which is open area.
Yeah.
And they have doing the hygiene thing, which is they will have a sanitizer hand, scan your temperature, and they have a social distancing about the table. Anyway, you know, and when we go to the restaurant that time, we also go on 11 o'clock for lunch, which is no one go at this time, and 4 o'clock for dinner. So that's fine for us.
Yeah, early birds are, in addition to not having to wait for your food very long, there's never anyone there. So we've noticed they shifted our schedule earlier.
Yeah.
And so that was number 7, restaurants. We've noticed that we're acting differently during the pandemic.
Yes.
And number 8 is salespeople. When you travel around as a tourist, people will approach you to sell you things, especially in tourist areas, which we don't often like to stay in. We like to stay a little outside of tourist areas to avoid that. But because we are obviously foreigners in a lot of places we go, people come up to us and try to sell us things. And we've noticed we're not as comfortable if they're not wearing a mask or they come up close to us. So we've noticed that we're a little bit careful when strangers come up to us to sell us things. And the next thing I've noticed is we're spending more time at home, like all of you are, I'm sure. We cook at home, we watch Netflix and that kind of thing. And when we go out, when we leave the house, it's often to shop or to go to nature rather to busy city centers and that kind of thing.
Yeah, most of the time we spend at home now.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so that's been a change in our social life. The nightlife thing we already talked about. We don't go to parties. We often go to museums unless they're like an outdoor museum, sculptures and that kind of thing. And then we won't go to live music unless it's an open air bar and there's a big distance between the tables, or wine tasting, that kind of thing. Now it's mainly Zoom calls with family, which I'm sure a lot of you are doing too.
Christmas in Zoom call, New Year in Zoom call.
Zoom call, yeah.
Everything in Zoom call.
Singing happy birthday on Zoom calls.
Even funeral also in Zoom call now.
Yeah.
Discuss.
And then we've also noticed that the travel documents are different.
Yes.
You may have heard 𝐿 when she came to Mexico. They asked for everything, right?
Yeah, they ask the airline asking, not the immigration asking. The airline first asking you that your return ticket. I said I never have this problem before.
3 times to Mexico. She's never been asked that.
Yeah, so I have to buy my return ticket. But when in the immigration, they did ask about my return ticket, my place to stay.
They did or didn't?
They did.
Okay, yeah.
They did. So actually, if you want to travel right now, you have better for you to prepare onward ticket. Most of the country, you know, there was us.
And if you want to know how to get an onward ticket for like $20, click below. I'll have a link for that also. You don't need to buy a whole ticket.
$12.
$12, okay.
Yeah.
And so, and also think about it. The immigration people are seeing maybe 1/3 or maybe only 1/5 of what they were seeing last year at this time. And so they have a lot more time to mess with you and ask questions. So you want to print that stuff up and have it ready and just hand it to them.
Oh yeah, and right now when you travel, you also, most of the country also asking for the PCR test or the antigen speed test.
Yeah.
But Mexico didn't have.
That's why we're here. We don't want to deal with that yet.
Yeah, but if we want to go to other country, most of them is asking for that.
But again, that'll be at Kayak. Go to Kayak and read what the requirements are before you go to any country, obviously. And also check the embassy webpage for that country. And the rules change all the time, so whatever we say about it now would be dumb tomorrow.
Oh yeah, so that's true. And Kayak didn't pay us the commission. We just refer Kayak because we use their information a lot. It's a good information from this website.
Yeah. And the 12th thing I would say is health emergencies. One of my strategies about traveling the world is that because I've traveled the world and I know about what we call medical tourism, I know that you can get the same or as good a service in many parts of the world as you can maybe in your home country. Mine's the US, and I can get it for like an 80% discount. But that presumes if something happens to me, whatever disease it would be, I would get online and research and find out what country handles that disease with the highest success rate and at what expense, and I would pick one with the highest success and the lowest expense. And I would hop on a plane and fly there and get whatever that taken care of, rather than buying health insurance, which can be very expensive. I'm self-insuring. But self-insuring requires the ability to fly somewhere, and if the country that offers that health insurance is closed, or offers that treatment for cheap and really high quality is closed, then you can't fly there. So think about whether or not you want to get health insurance for that reason.
Oh, but most of the country, they open for the medical tourists.
Yeah.
You can go and you bring one people with you to go in.
And
Taiwan is open.
You can bring one person with it, yeah.
You can bring one person with you to go
Right.
in. So Taiwan is open, Malaysia is open, Vietnam is open.
So you just get like a letter from the hospital or whatever, and you can fly there? Okay.
Yeah, you can fly there.
Double check that, make sure it hasn't
Yeah.
changed before you rely on it.
Yes.
But that's another thing, is think about the medical situation and what red tape you have to jump through to fly somewhere if you
And
want
one
treatment.
thing that when you talk about medical, I remember that if you want to fly to most of the country, they request you to have a COVID insurance to fly.
Oh yeah, some
So,
require COVID
insurance, and then COVID test,
Yeah.
and then onward ticket. Well, nowadays a lot.
So check on Kayak and then double check at the embassy webpage, and
Yes.
often Kayak will give a link to the embassy
Yes.
webpage. And so if you've enjoyed this video, could you please like it, comment, or subscribe? It's kind of like you're giving us a tip, because YouTube will show our video to more people and we'll make a little bit more money. We really appreciate it. So go over to 𝗙𝐻𝐻 channel, subscribe, watch some of her videos. She's a food hunter, she calls herself.
Try to be a food hunter. I will be making more video. I'm not that good like you.
Well, thanks so much for watching. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. And we have retired cheap reports all over the world, and come check out our membership. Thanks for watching my video. Have a great day. Click the link in the notes below this YouTube video to get a copy of all the resources described in this video, and a free copy of my ebook, How I Fired My Boss and Traveled the World. And while you're there, check out our 80 retired cheap reports and the course that teaches you how to make money as you travel the world.